everyone to Monday, what's the date today? Monday, the 15th of July, 2024, 6 o'clock. We are reading the Sankalpa Kaumudi, and we are on the last chapter, which is a review of the whole book, and we're just making our way through that. Okay, so Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shemati Bhakti Vedanta Swam Tinamane Namaste Sarasati Tevi Gauravani Pacharine Nivasisha Shunyavhari Pashtachari Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome to devotees who just joined us.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maradisham. Welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Mabhishita, Mabhishital, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, Kumari Priya, I think you have the book, if you do, if it's convenient. And Chandravali, you have the book as well. So 858. Okay. It's a big book, 858. Right. And we're just beginning at the bottom there on part 4. So part 4 of the book. The book consisted of, or does consist of, let me find the index. How many parts exactly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 parts. So
fortunately, Kumari Mataji, she can't read. She's on the bus.
No problem. That's okay. So you just have to hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam. Yeah, hearing and chanting. So long as we can do one or the other, then we're okay. All right. So let's start reading. So part 4, types and examples of Sankalpa. That's the title of part 4. Okay. Gives practical examples of different Sankalpas that are characteristic of progress on the path of devotion. It begins with a description of the 5 basic kinds of determinations and their relative importance to the goal of sadhana. Knowledge of these, just let someone in. Knowledge of these types of sankalpas give a thoughtful sadhaka a tool by which to measure the value of his devotional acts as they relate to the attainment of bhava. This chapter that follows sets out examples of determinations made in Krishna consciousness and offer practical advice on how a devotee can go about making a sankalpa stroke determination. Namaraj is going to just explain a little of what those determinations are and what they may look like in relationship to our devotional development. And he uses as a blueprint the 5 aspects of development of bhava. Okay, so uses it as a blueprint and uses it to explain 5 different types of determination. All right, because I was just having a little read before we opened up today. Now let me just, now without spending too much time, otherwise we won't make our way through.
So Sankalpa means taking a vow.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah, in its very basic definition. As we know, the book is inspired by Gopakumar's different determinations to achieve the Lord of his life and the different realms that he enters and the different determinations which then manifest in him to go to different places. So the whole book is based on that, practically speaking. Because it's called the Sankalpa Kaumudi, which is the moonbeams of determination. See, I was just reading that the essence here is that spiritual life is not one where it's going to happen automatically. Now, we will automatically advance if we're very attentive to all the details of our spiritual practice. Yes, then we will automatically advance in devotional service. So if we're attentive and if we're a little bit, we have to be somewhat knowledgeable of the different stages of devotion. Doesn't mean we have to be scholars. We have to be somewhat knowledgeable of the different stages. And if we're knowledgeable of the different stages, we can kind of direct ourselves or ascertain where we are and develop determinations to attain higher stages. Yeah. So in other words, it's not just somehow we hang out. Someone else. Sometimes you may hear that type of that type of explanation. Somehow or another, just hang on. It's true. From one relative point of view, we should just hang on somehow in devotional life. But we want to be aware of where we are and where we want to go. So there's different determinations that's needed for that. So that's the Sankalpa Kaumudi. Okay. And then Maharaj is going to elaborate on these. Okay. So devotees can evaluate the relevance of a determination in elevating them to bhava. Okay, so we're sorry, keep repeating. I'm sure we're clear on this, that we're aiming for bhava. Sadhana means that practice which leads to bhava, which is love. Okay, it's a seed of love by which you can obtain Poma Vrindavan. Okay, which is based on the following 5 categories their sankalpas fall into, which chapter 15 describes as determinations that are full of desire for ecstatic devotion. So that's one. Yeah, that's one of the 5. Full of desire for ecstatic devotion. And those that are the ingredients to attaining bhava. Those favorable. So Maharaj is now listing what they are. Determinations full of desire for ecstatic devotion. So if I remember rightly, Maharaj speaks here of, say for instance, you're doing an Ekadashi Vrata, you're chanting extra rounds, or you're going to attend a festival, or you're going to do something, you're going to make some extra preparation, or you're going to preparation for Krishna, or you're going to attend a class, or you're going to attend a seminar or japa retreat, then you are hopeful that what you're doing is going to help you to obtain love, bhava. You understand? That's your underlying reason for going to a seminar, going on a japa retreat, is that you are consciously doing it so that you can advance in your sadhana. So that means determination, full of a desire for ecstatic devotion. So we don't just, okay, we chant extra rounds on Ekadashi. That's great, but why are we chanting it? I guess that's a question. I've just answered. So you're muted, Madam Mongo, if you're saying something. Why are we chanting extra rounds?
I think Mother Chandravali wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say to develop love for Krishna.
Yeah, that's it. And but we need to be conscious that we're doing that. It's subtle, isn't it? Because, in other words, we got a determination that goes along with our spiritual practices. Yeah, because I want to.
It is a saying. They say, "Work smart, not foolish."
Yeah, so we're consciously aware of what we're doing. Yeah, so that's first one. Sorry?
think that, oh, we want to develop love for Krishna. It's devotional service. It's Ekadashi. Let's chant extra rounds. Let's read extra, like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's it.
consciousness, you would think, oh, I'll develop love for Krishna. I mean, the whole process is.
Yeah.
development.
Let me take darshan. Let me, because I want to develop my affection for Krishna. So that's
But I-
determination. So that's a specific determination that we have in our devotional practices. Sorry, did I cut you off, Madam Mongol?
Yeah, I wanted to say that we need to know why we are doing it and to realize. I was reading a book on Ekadashi, which I never knew. I know I
Yeah,
need
it
to
is.
Ekadashi, but it's more the story behind.
Yeah, yeah, that helps. It helps. As Krishna said to Nanda Maharaj when he was asking him why he's doing this sacrifice for Indra. And Nanda Maharaj said, "What are you so concerned about? You're just a young boy." So then Krishna said, an activity which is done in knowledge, then you get the benefit. You get more benefit. Right. So, continuing.
I was thinking to read. Oh, sorry, I don't. This is
Go on.
to read about Ekadashi book. It's like you're saying, so you understand what you're doing for. But
Yeah, but you have to be careful because that Ekadashi book, which speaks about the glories of Ekadashi, generally it has. I mean, it's great, but obviously it offers a lot of material boons as well. It's kind of a bit karma kanda.
yeah,
So you have to be somewhat like a swan and take out the pure devotion that's there in that glorification. Because it's generally these things like the month of Kartik, it's generally for persons, it's to inspire persons who are not sadhakas to actually do something for the Lord, to offer a lamp, you get this benefit, you get that benefit.
that's what I
So,
mean.
yeah, so you read about the glories of Ekadashi. And Srila Prabhupada didn't really speak so much. He never spoke about the glories of Ekadashi, but it's good to know. But really, we're doing Ekadashi to obtain love, not to have 10 healthy sons that live for 100 moons, for whatever it may be. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's transactional, and
Sorry?
then otherwise it becomes transactional.
Business.
Yeah,
Yeah, business,
it's
so.
not really love. Then the mind thinks, "Oh, I do this because I will get this."
Yeah. Welcome, Dhruva Prabhu. I just saw Dhruva just dive in. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats.
Hare
Thank you,
Bol,
Puri
sir.
Prabhu.
Good to have you here. Hare Krishna. All right, so okay, so going on. Those favorable for realizing it. Yeah. So things that are favorable, I just mentioned it. Things that are favorable for developing love, definitely Ekadashi is favorable. Yeah. Things that are unopposed to it. So things that are neutral, which are neither favorable or unfavorable, they're kind of neutral. I'm trying to think of an example. I'll have to go. I just read it just now. I'll have to go to. I just remember the example. What is neutral? I think it's serving cows. I think something like that is kind of neutral. It's things that we do which may not specifically give rise to bhava or ecstatic love, but it's not against the principles of bhakti if you feed the cows. Okay. Also, Jiva Goswami, when he speaks about sadhana bhakti, he describes that, Jiva Goswami commenting on Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasmrita Sindhu. So he says one of the aspects of sadhana is that you should tickle cows. Right? So next time you go to Bhaktivedanta, you should do your sadhana. You should scratch the back of the ears of the cows and tickle cows.
I always do. And their ears.
Yeah, so that's could say that's neutral. It's part of anyway, Hare Krishna. Okay. Scriptures are replete with recommendations that promote devotional progress. However, not all these guidelines can be followed at once, and according to varying circumstances, some may not be applicable, and others may be just impractical. Right, so we have to be a little bit discriminative. Not everything that we read in Scripture might not be possible for us to do, according to the specific circumstance. So, for this reason, a devotee must know which choices and practices in Krishna consciousness are principles and which are details, which are indispensable and which are dispensable. Yeah. So this is important. This principle and details, we often deal with this in regards to questions about deity worship. Yeah. Sometimes we get the details mixed with the principles. Yeah. So sometimes someone may be hung up about something which is really a detail and it's not a principle. One of the things, for example, that devotees ask questions about as if it's life and death is how many circles should we offer the incense? You know, how many circles should we offer the ghee lamp? I mean, and they're not specifically given in scripture. There's something that Rupa Goswami mentions, but it's not what Prabhupada exactly gave us. And Prabhupada said different things at different times about how to offer. In one place, he said you should offer the ghee lamps 7 times in 7 circles, 17 times. Like that. So sometimes, so devotees sometimes get quite, I don't know, hung up's the right word, but it's just a detail. The principle is to offer it with love and devotion. Right? So in our determinations in spiritual life, there's principles and there's details. Any questions, please feel free to ask or comment. Once again, making these choices and decisions is the function of the intelligence, which must be crystal clear about the 5 kinds of determinations and how and when they are applicable in bringing a practitioner closer to his goal. All right. Now I'm tempted just to try. I'm just going to name the 5 types so we're clear. 747. Excuse me. Part 4. No. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. 267. Just take 1 minute. Let me just go there. I won't elaborate on each one because we won't get very far. If you really Hare Krishna. Well, if it takes me too long to find it, I'm just going to give up. Oh, here it is. So one is bhava a self-identification whose nature is in harmony with one's aspired for mood of eternal service. Now, this might just confuse everyone because Maharaj, as I mentioned in the beginning, these are the 5 determinations specifically in relationship to bhava. But he's used this template of the 5 different determinations to advance in spiritual life. Okay. So one of those things that the first one I mentioned, it's always on our mind. It's always in our thoughts of how can I advance. The next one is things that are related to it. The next one is things that are favorable. And then the other one is things that are opposed to it, etc. Anyway, I'm also confusing myself. But I just read it.
But if we don't know ourselves, that's a big problem. If we are not, I think first we need to look in ourselves to know ourselves, to know also what we're learning.
Yeah.
Am I formulating right? Maybe.
Yeah, that's why it's good for us to be regulated and situated in a mode of goodness at least, because then we can have a clear perspective on our situation, to that degree we're strongly situated in sattva, we can see things very clearly, so okay, chapter 16 cites sankalpas from scripture and the lives of our acharyas. These examples are educational for a practitioner because they reveal how the Lord and his devotees go about their determinations, and thus they teach what should, and in some cases what should not be undertaken to formulate, execute, and perfect a sankalpa. Okay, there's one, I'm sure we will get this, there's one famous example of determination, a leela given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which the whole chapter more or less is about determination, the whole pastime. Someone who is very determined.
Dhruva Maharaj?
Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj. Well done, Dhruva Maharaj. His namesake, yeah, Dhruva Maharaj. Yeah. So if you read that chapter in the purple, Prabhupada speaks again and again and again about determinations, And as we know, Dhruva Maharaj achieved perfection of darshan of the Lord within 6 months. I think it's in the purple there as well. Srila Prabhupada explains that I'm thinking that if my disciples, if my disciples can be very determined, just paraphrasing, then by their grace, they can also take me back to Godhead. Prabhupada speaks like that in one purple. In great humility. Yeah, Dhruva Maharaj, correct. In all cases, we see that these sankalpas are characterized by 3 features. All right. So, as Madhumangal just said, actually, about being clear of one's identity, but a clear goal, and a means to attain it, and where that goal leads. Okay. So that clear goal will be different for different devotees. Yeah, for one, a clear goal may be, I will never again eat in an Indian vegetarian restaurant, which is not, where the food's not cooked by devotees. That may be your goal, maybe a goal. Yeah, and so then you got to plan. So that's the goal. So then you got to plan how to avoid such invitations very politely. It's up to you. Some of you might, I'm sure. You get the idea? A clear goal. So a clear goal may just be, I'm sick and tired of chanting inattentively. I'm tired of chanting inattentively every time I sit down. I'm determined to make a big effort to hear that holy name. Yeah, so that's the goal. Yeah. So then there's a means to obtain it. So that might mean for you to stay attentive in chanting, you gotta not allow as much junk to go into your mind as you usually do, because that's what's going to come out when you sit down. If you're watching all mundane movies or doing this and that, then when you sit down to chant, it's naturally what's going to come to your mind. Just for example, yeah. So a clear goal, the means to attain it, and where that goal leads. A practitioner may question the sheer volume of things to be known in practicing sadhana. But the truth of the matter is that material entanglement is convoluted enough to require at least a corresponding effort in becoming disentangled. All right. So we're in a mess. So we've got to be quite attentive to actually getting out of this mess. Yeah. We Yeah, we're in a mess, so we have to be quite attentive to the means and the ways to get out of this mess. Of these three characteristics of a Sankalpa, the means of attainment is what requires a coherent approach that bears the knowledge of how to evade the trappings of the material energy and maximize the benefits to be derived by spiritual practice. Okay, so that's part of our spiritual life. Okay, to evade the trappings of the material energy. Okay, and maximize the benefits to be derived by spiritual practice. Additionally, the other two features of a Sankalpa, a clear goal and where the goal leads, must also be in harmony with the dynamics of pure devotional service. Okay. Any questions about this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, sorry.
Yeah,
I just
please.
want to
John.
add,
Yeah.
can you tell why we are singing mantras or just in script, just shlokas, yeah, in singing manner, not like poetry, yeah, but in melodious.
Why we are doing that?
Yeah, I'll tell you a secret now. I'm testing you. Sorry, Prabhu.
All right, I can.
What do you think? Why it's like this?
But generally, you'll find, you mean like slokas, they're sung or repeated in a certain, what are the words? Just a certain
Pace.
melody.
Yeah, it's not
Melody.
dry poetry, like rhyme, yeah, not rhyming,
Yeah.
but it
But
has
that's, you know,
sung, like sung, I'll tell you the answer.
yeah. Let me just, because it's just like Vedic mantras, there's certain meters
Pace.
that chant the Vedic mantras, and for instance, there's the Bhagavad Gita verses. They're generally quite, what's the word? They're anustup.
Yeah, Chandramali Mataji is laughing. Yeah, I'll tell you. You know why? Yeah, but it's
Go on.
singing. It's not dry poetry, like
No, it's not.
Shakespeare. You can't read it because when we sing, we don't think. You understand? And when we
When we
speak
sing, we
poetry,
don't say that
we
again.
don't think. We don't think about anything. We are full
Yeah.
dive. We sing in the singing, in pronunciation, and that's why all our mind is diving in mantras and what we're doing. Try to sing and think of something.
Well,
Doesn't work. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
it's a very good
cheating,
point. Very
That's the
good point.
point. That's why when we do kirtan, that's why we are singing. It's full service. When we do kirtan, after 2-3 hours, we feel like we're so tired, we're exhausted. But mind is like newborn. Physically, we might be tired, but mind is like newborn. It's
Yeah, yeah.
cleansing. It's the best
Very nice
cleansing.
point.
That's why we should sing more and more and more.
Yeah.
we should
And
sing the plus.
And that's why, again, that's why the Vedic mantras are learned according to a specific melody,
Yes, yes.
because it's easy for the students to memorize.
Yeah, not to
Just
fall
like,
asleep. Yes, that's exactly.
just like I still, I'm sure some of you might do. I mean, I still remember songs I used to listen to when I was 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
So
Alphabet.
yeah.
Yeah.
So also, yeah, for instance, I learned some Vedic mantras for yagna, which I don't do so often. But and I haven't chanted them for like 5 or 6 years. But as soon as I hear them, I can chant them
Yeah.
because they're in song.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
we
yeah,
can test ourselves, we can test. Let's sing bhajan or Hare Krishna and start thinking what I'm going to do
but
tomorrow.
that's a good
cooking,
point. That
cleaning.
if you
doesn't work.
sing, then you don't think. You're just very attentive.
Yes, exactly, because you have to follow your voice and the words, and it comes now. It's
And
I think we can't continue.
And I guess that's why Sankirtan is glorified. We have our japa,
Yeah.
but more glorified is Sankirtan, where we chant the holy name out loud together.
Yeah.
So it's easy to be absorbed.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, because you can't go go away. Your mind is more attached to what you're doing, not to what plans and ideas.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's a good point, because I guess when there's a certain melody, you're attentive to that melody and you have to repeat that same melody back. So you're quite attentive. You have to hear it very attentively to actually repeat it back. Yeah.
That's why kids they learn
Thank you for bringing it out.
as a
Sorry?
melody. That's why kids they learn the alphabet in school as a melody. A B C D. F.
Yeah. Well, all right. There are many examples of sankalpas upon which a devotee embarks upon in his personal sadhana. Chapter 17 describes some of these, such as the most obvious determination of chanting a minimum of 16 offenseless rounds a day. And when a devotee becomes more advanced, he may read books that nurture his specific aspiration in perfection, such as the parts of the Srimad Bhagavatam that describe Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. Okay. A devotee who is serious about spiritual advancement should be clear about the determinations he needs to make in all areas of his life. So not just sadhana, there's sadhana, ashram, and lifestyle, just to name a few. Moreover, he should know which vows are voluntary, public. Okay. So he may make a public determination. Okay. I promise devotees, I'm going to cook breakfast every Sunday. Yeah. Public determination. Private. Yeah. Ones you keep to yourself. Essential, optional, general, or personalized. Yeah. An important takeaway from this chapter, as from the book, is that a serious sadhaka is not someone who considers devotional service to be a process that functions on autopilot, where the practitioner mechanically plods along. I think I mentioned that in the beginning, okay? To the contrary, a devotee is constantly assessing himself, making adjustments in sadhana as needed, and moves from stage to stage to stage, I said stage to stage, armed with the appropriate sankalpa. Is that quite clear, isn't it? We're clear on that? Yeah. Constantly assessing himself. Yeah. Constantly endeavoring for perfection are those, then Maharaj quotes, in Krishna's words, those who are constantly endeavoring for perfection are sure of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Okay. I think that's from Chatusloki Srimad Bhagavatam. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, that was chapter 17, the summary. Chapter 18. Let me just, sorry, Madhumango, I don't know. Can I just ask a question? What can you see on the screen? Can you see me?
Yeah.
It's me
Yeah, I
speaking.
can see you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was playing around with the settings on Zoom and it's not sure. Okay. All right, so chapter 18. In chapter 18, we offer the ingredients for making a sankalpa, which are generic to the many determinations a devotee will make on his spiritual journey to ecstatic devotion. Some of these are knowing at what stage one is in spiritual life. So that might be a question to your Guru Maharaj. If you're blessed to have darshan with your Guru Maharaj, or a senior devotee, you may say, my dear Guru Maharaj, please, can you help me to identify at what stage I am in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. And then he might ask, okay, so tell me about your chanting. He may ask, so tell me about your sadhana. So then you say, oh, I chant, I chant. My chanting is like this, my chanting is like that. Yeah. So that was a good question that you want to ask the Guru. Please, my Guru Maharaj, can you help me to ascertain where I am situated? According to, in the Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam, Anartha Nivritti, Ruchi, Shakti. Yeah. So good question to ask Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, got distracted. Okay, some of these are knowing at what stage one is in spiritual life, where one is going, having a qualification to get there. Okay, adhikar is qualification, and how to actually best formulate a sankalpa. These ingredients of sankalpa should be put into practice under the governance of the earlier described 5 categories, such as determinations that are full of the desire for ecstatic devotion, or those that are the ingredients to attaining ecstatic devotion. The combination of these governing and subsequent aspects of sankalpa may be compared to how a cooked offering for the deity is prepared. The primary ingredients are the cooking utensils, fire, ghee, and vegetables. The spicing is secondary, its purpose to enhance the offering in different ways according to the availability of taste. Good example, right? To get more clear. So if like today I was cooking for the Lord, so I was doing all of these things. So now I'm thinking, in my spiritual life, Today I cooked cauliflower tikka for the Lord. Yeah. So the spicing is secondary, its purpose to enhance the offering in different ways according to the availability of taste. In either case, just as a cook carefully considers how to best prepare his offering to the deity, a sadhaka considers well the steps he makes towards ecstatic devotion. All right, that was part 4 to part 5.
I think this is interesting. The secondary are the spices.
Yeah, go on. More. Why is it interesting?
Because it's not so important, but in the end it is. It's important the whole process, but the spices are secondary.
Yeah, so how can you correlate that with determinations in devotional service?
You can go on, you can say it. I was thinking because, like, say you meditate, like I'm cooking Rajput tomorrow. So I already kind of meditated. I'll do this and I do this and I do. The spices will just come.
I understand.
I have to formulate it. I was thinking how.
I understand.
So
therefore, so we have determination to obtain, to get to the state of steadiness, in our chanting, say. So then we're going to think of how we're going to go about that. Yeah, we think of what are the ingredients that's going to help me to come to the stage of steady chanting. Yeah.
The quality is more important than the quantity.
The quality?
More important than the quantity. So the better you have a lesson well with love thoughts than to have a lot and
but there again, also, especially in chanting, it's quality that will improve. It's quantity that will improve quality. As well.
Yeah.
But the more we chant, then the more we get an opportunity to evolve or to develop in quality chanting. Yeah, so that's there as well. Yeah.
I had a WhatsApp sent.
Right?
I can't do this, and the answer would be just chant. I can't concentrate, just
Yeah,
chant.
that one's
When-
going around. That
Yeah.
one's going around at the moment. It was going around a couple of months ago. Now it's been thrown around again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
So in that, the
Much more tactful.
sankalpa would be, I have to just chant, no matter what, how badly, whatever. I'm going to keep chanting, and then you'll improve.
Yeah, that's a nice. I don't know if the devotees have seen that. It's very good. It's from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
So what the hell, come May? Okay, you don't have any taste for chanting. So what? Chant.
Chant. Yes, that was it. Yeah.
You might
Just
not
keep-
be hungry, but eat.
Right?
You might not be hungry, but just eat. Hunger comes by eating.
Yeah.
Actually, if I find, I should send. If I find it, I'll send it.
Yeah, send it to the devotees. It's quite
Hare
good.
Krishna, Prabhu, I want to tell you like anecdote,
Please.
funny story. Like before I moved to UK before 2002, yeah, my life, it wasn't easy, it was something trapped, and I came to an astrologer, devotee, it was devotee, and I said, Prabhu, can you help me to, because I'm lost in my world, I don't know what to do, finished, I just, you don't know,
Mhm. From left or right.
and he said, okay, come tomorrow. I came tomorrow. He looked at my chart. Look, he said again, can you come tomorrow? I came again. He was looking again. I come. He looked, he was silent for 10-15 minutes. I was thinking something wrong. My goodness, I'm going to die or what? He said, just chant. Just chant. Just chant.
That's what it.
I
So
was so disappointed. I left it and I thought, finished. It means I'm finished so completely that there is no chance for me. Okay, I forget and I moved. And I met him recently last year because I invited him to talk about book distribution. He was the best distributor those times. Yeah, and we spoke about that. And I asked Prabhu, I said, do you remember when I asked you about my astrology, what to do, to help me to sort out my life? And you said, just chant. And you said, yes. He said, that was the best prediction ever.
yeah, so that's a that's a very good astrologer. Here's what I recommend for you.
Yeah,
Just
this is the best. Yeah, it's yeah, that's true.
That's a good astrologer. Perhaps I shall remember that, tell that as a story in the class. Yeah, it is astrologer. He just chant Hare Krishna. All right, part 5. So it's called Determinations in Sadhana. Mother Chandravali, would you like to read?
I better put the light on.
860. I'll just read the first paragraph before I get in that. Part 5. Determinations in sadhana can conclude the description of the concepts underlying determinations with an emphasis on factors that affect and possibly neutralize a devotee's efforts in progressing through stages of sadhana. Okay, let me read that again. Concludes the description of the concepts underlying determinations with an emphasis on factors that affect and possibly neutralize a devotee's efforts in progressing through the stages of sadhana. Yeah. So the impediments or the difficulties that one may face, Samaj speaks about that. I think it speaks about the importance of association is an obvious one. Yeah. Okay. It explores the role of Sankalpa in sadhana bhakti in terms of its causes, nourishment, and loss. Yeah, loss of Sankalpa, that's the chapter. It's called Loss of Sankalpa. The first 5 parts of Sankalpa Kaumudi lay the groundwork for the last 3, 6, 7, and 8, which investigate 3 essential pillars of Sankalpa. So, Ekagrata, attentiveness in non-bhajan, chanting with emotion, which is bhava seva, and divine grace, which the last chapters we read, respectively. Okay, Chandra, you can pick it up. Chapter 19.
Chapter 19 begins with a summary of the preceding chapters and continues with both scriptural and historical examples of how, for different reasons, devotees express their determinations to advance in Krishna consciousness, to attain a certain service, or to see the Lord. And while these are all perfect reasons for sankalpas, in the eyes of great devotees, the best reasons are those which aim at pleasing one's master, at pleasing Krishna, and at spreading the Krishna consciousness movement among conditioned souls. Devotees sometimes misunderstand the desire of sadhana to attain bhava as a kind of spiritual selfishness, an attraction for liberation. However, the reality is that transcendental service is the goal of practice because it facilitates the best way to serve and help Krishna. Moreover, the attainment of bhava is most...
Please Krishna, yes, serve and please Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serve and please Krishna. Moreover, the attainment of bhava is most pleasing to Srila Prabhupada because that was the gift that he came to give. After all, the success of Krishna consciousness movement is not measured in mortar and bricks, but in the pure devotees that is created as a consequence of chanting Hare Krishna.
Okay. Important sentence here. After all, success of the Krishna conscious movement is not a measure in mortar and bricks, but in the pure devotees that it creates as a consequence of chanting Hare Krishna. Yeah.
That's Bhakti Siddhanta.
Yeah.
I can break all this marble off and...
Yeah, that reminds us of Bhakti Siddhanta and the Bhag Bazar temple.
Yeah, Bhag Bazar.
Which they didn't break, actually. It's still there now.
Yeah.
All the marbles in place, but he was making a specific point. Yeah, that his disciples were more interested in what positions or what rooms they would get. Most important, yeah.
And then if you had sincere devotees, then they wouldn't worry where they're staying or what they're doing.
Yeah.
Worry about bricks and mortar. Okay. Sankalpa Kaumudi places great emphasis on a devotee being properly versed in transcendental knowledge. In the preceding chapter, we have brought to the foreground knowledge of relationships or sambandha gyan. Chapter 20 then probes into knowledge of practice or abhidheya gyan. And while a devotee needs to be conversant with all 9 limbs of devotion, his main attention must be on knowing how to put into practice the principles underlying offenseless Nam Sankirtan. Since chanting of the holy names is the religious principle for this age, knowledge of the functional duties regarding Nam Sankirtan is a sadhaka's primary area of study. Srila Prabhupada displayed the effortlessness of a pure devotee's Nam Sankirtan, and yet what is very natural for him and great devotees is often a struggle for their followers. For the sadhaka, chanting the 16-word Mahamantra turns out to be quite a spiritual science, but one that he cannot turn his back on. For this reason, all devotees need to apply themselves to learning the science of attentive Nam Bhajan.
Yeah. So fortunately, that's quite a it's quite common. We have these the devotees in some brahmacharis came back from a holy name retreat with Mahatma Prabhu somewhere in the UK, who's giving class tomorrow. And we have those holy name retreats of many senior devotees. Of course, Satyananda Maharaj was the first one of the first devotees to do that. So I think we do take that quite seriously as a whole. It's good, yeah, about the science of attentive Nam Bhajan. And this book went into quite some detail about that. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Chapter 21 is dedicated to studying the factors responsible for the cause and nourishment of sankalpas. What makes and what keeps a devotee determined in his ascent up the stage of pure devotional service? Among the many causes of sankalpas, the foremost is the quality devotee association with which a sadhaka is blessed. Yeah, that's so true. And like we have a thing, we have a saying in Gujarati. Oh, there's nobody in Gujarati here. I just say it in Gujarati. Jevo sang, evo rang. So whatever you associate with, you become like that. You know?
Yeah.
Like a drunkard goes to in a place where they're all drinking. He's going to be a person goes to where everybody is drinking. He's going to pick up that habit.
Yeah, Prabhupada will use that example. He would often explain like that as well, yeah.
Gujarati.
Like businessmen. If you want to become good in business, then you're going to want to associate with businessmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to become good in bhakti, you want to associate with those who do have bhakti. Yeah, those who are advanced in devotion. Yeah.
And a factor most responsible for the nourishment of sankalpas is the devotional taste, ras. That is successful sankalpa. That a successful sankalpa brings forth. In the way
Yes.
that ordinary person is impelled by the pleasure he derives from a successful endeavor, a devotee is inspired by the pleasure that he derives from devotional service, specifically Nam Sankirtan. It is instructive to note the connection between association and the kind of taste of bhava bhakti a devotee acquires. Because Narad associated with regulated devotees, he developed a taste for Vaidhi bhakti. Similarly, a devotee who associates with spontaneous devotees in the mood of Madhurya Ras will himself be attracted to the same savor of perfection. This is in conformity with the principle that bhakti begets bhakti. This also implies that the taste of bhakti begets the same taste of bhakti.
Okay, any questions about that or comments? So generally what you're going to see spoken of most by Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and our acharyas, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Sukadev Goswami, is Krishna's relationship with the gopis. Yeah. So that's generally, yeah, so they can be taken in that way, the writings of the acharyas and the details that's given. So that's one aspect as well. Then there's similar devotee who associates with spontaneous devotees in the mood of Madhurya Ras will himself be attracted to that same savior of perfection. Yep. Also, yeah. Yes. Any questions on that? So also the personals, yeah, you have to kind of be a little bit, I can say, because normally devotees keep their specific attraction hidden. Yeah. Especially advanced devotees. But generally, if you associate with specific devotees, they'll have a specific mood, which you will pick up on. Yeah, they have a specific attraction, although it may not be stated. What's the word? What's the word? May not be stated directly. But especially if they're immersed in that mood, say someone's immersed in the mood of Sakyaras, it's going to come out in their way they interact. If they're really, really absorbed in that mood of Sakyaras, it's going to come out, so to speak. But so if you're somewhat educated, you're somewhat tuned in, or you're not tuned in is the right word, but if you know some of the basic elements of the different rasas, then you're going to recognize that. It's quite. It can be quite a detailed discussion because that's yeah. Anyway.
Like we have that Madhav Maharaj, that Tulsi Maharaj.
Yeah.
You can.
There's no questions of what rasa he is in. Sakya ras is like. He used to remember because he's not physically able to get around anymore. But it was wonderful when he would come to our temple. He'll come to our temple, my guys. And one of the main features of Sakiras is sharing and eating prasadam together. And it's like he described it like as you can read, the Gopas, it's just a wild party, basically, sitting down. And when he would eat, when he would sit down for prasad, he would go into this Sakiras mood. Completely spontaneous and quite wild, he's taking prasadam and he's got his deities, Krishna and Balaram, the boys used to call them. One time, sorry, I don't know if I should say this, but he's quite spontaneous. One time we had salad, and there was no dressing. So he, what? Here, where's the dressing? Where's the dressing? Hey, Burley.
Yeah.
Go. And he told me to go and get the Chanarita bowl. So I got the Chanarita bowl and he poured the whole thing in his salad.
Very, very good. Very good.
He poured half of it. He didn't pour the whole thing. I think he poured about half of it in the salad. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's how you cook, yeah.
Anyway, getting a bit excited here. But then, yeah, Hare Krishna. And there's no, I mean, Marge makes it quite clear what his aspiration is. Shivaram Swami Maharaj. There's no guessing. His specific aspiration. I won't say what it is, but devotees who read his books, it's quite clear. I'll leave that as, yeah. So, 7 o'clock. My good God. Hare Krishna. All right, this has taken quite some. I thought we might. All right, we've still got a few pages to go in this summary. All right, so let's pause there then. Okay. Thank you, devotees, for joining us. A good few devotees here today. There are 7 devotees with us. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us. I hope something that we read today, something that you heard today was like, oh yeah, this is an important point. This is a good point. I hope it's helped some way. Definitely, there's a few points I've read today which I'm thinking, okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you, everyone. And please join us if you can. We have Bhagavad Gita tomorrow from 6 o'clock to 7 at the same time. Hare Krishna. Speaking on the
Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Sankalpa ki jai.
Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Govinda ki jai.
Ram, 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 Hare Hare.